She had been built in the late 1950s, a time of optimism on the Great Lakes. The new St. Lawrence Seaway is ushering in an era of booming commerce, and the Edmund Fitzgerald, named for the chairman of the insurance company that owns her, will be the pride of the Seaway fleet. But as she is christened by Mrs. Edmund Fitzgerald, and 10,000 spectators look on, the ship slides into the harbor at a perilous angle. The huge vessel, 729 feet long and 75 feet wide, sends a huge wave crashing over the pier. Then she smashes into the dock with terrifying force. One man is so shaken by the sight, he suffers a heart attack and dies. And others swear that the Edmund Fitzgerald is trying to climb right out of the water. But for 17 years, the Fitzgerald is one of the champions of the waters. She sets records for the heaviest load ever carried on the Great Lakes, and for the fastest run by a ship her size. Below decks, she has staterooms for the use of important corporate clients. And although by 1975 she is not the longest of the lake freighters, she remains a proud flagship under the command of one of the most experienced captains on the Seaway, Ernest McSorley. On this calm November morning, Indian summer embraces the giant ship as she pulls into port at the western end of the lake the native Indians call Gitchigumi, the big sea water. Riding high and empty, she berths at Burlington Northern Dock Number 1, ready to take on 50,000 gallons of fuel and more than 50 million pounds of iron ore pellets. First Mate Jack McCarthy supervises the loading of the cargo. He monitors 3 lights that warn if the ship is riding unevenly in the water. Green for a list to starboard. Red for a tilt to port. White means the Edmund Fitzgerald is level. McCarthy is a robust Irishman, adored by the crewmen he supervises.
I know through the years that Dad was very well thought of by crews. He was fair to them, and given 25 to 30 men working together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 9, 10, 12 months a year, it couldn't all be serious and by the book. And I think that with his experience, he knew how to take those liberties without jeopardizing any of the integrity of the crew or the operation of the boat. Captain McSorley and Dad made a pact to sail out their last years together. That means a lot. Fitz was the biggest boat in the fleet. McSorley was the senior captain, and it was his pick of whom he wanted to be next to him in command.
It takes only 6 hours to fully load Fitzgerald, and half an hour to seal each hatch with a 7-ton sheet of steel rimmed with 68 clamps. Each clamp must be tightened manually, each hold sealed watertight, because flooded compartments could drag the ship down to the bottom of the lake. It's a little past 2 in the afternoon when Captain McSorley slides the Edmund Fitzgerald away from the loading dock to begin her eastbound run. McSorley has spent 44 seasons on the water, working his way up from deckhand to ship's master. But he is 62, and the long days and nights at the helm have wearied him. His wife, Nellie, crippled by arthritis and a recent stroke, has been admitted to a nursing home. On a late October stopover, he promises his wife he will hurry home as soon as the shipping season ends. It won't be long, McSorley vows. It is their last meeting. Seamen like 22-year-old Bruce Hudson make up Fitzgerald's roster.
Bruce was a fun-loving boy and always loved adventure and having fun, and he loved people and was very friendly and was just a very outgoing person. He was very fond of the Fitzgerald when he went on it. He called her the Big Fitz. He was on board with a group of young men. There was about 6 of them around the same age. He spoke a lot about Mark Thomas and Carl Pickle and David Weiss and Tom Benson and a lot of them that he was friends with. Bruce thought John McCarthy was very nice, and they were close, and he liked John McCarthy a lot. And I know Mr. McCarthy did. I know that he looked after him when he could.
It requires only 29 men to smoothly run a ship that is more than 1/8 of a mile long. Wheelsmen like Gene O'Brien and Johnny Poviak. Down in the engine room, Chief Engineer George Hall, a serious, enigmatic man. Hall is a close friend of Ernest McSorley, and like the captain, the ship is his life. Under Hall's command, newcomer Tom Benson, a 23-year-old in his first season aboard the Fitzgerald. Bob Rafferty, taken aboard at the last moment because the regular cook is laid up with ulcers. For the crew, the Edmund Fitzgerald is both workplace and home. There is a sameness to the daily routine, but the work is well-paying. The bond among crewmates strong. A year of lake service brings 10 months of a comfortable room and hearty meals aboard ship, and a 2-month winter vacation. A life without traffic jams or shopping malls, ruled by the rhythm of the seasons. On this day, distant and as yet unseen, 2 volatile air masses are on a collision course that will churn Lake Superior into an evil frenzy and put everyone on the big lake freighters into a desperate battle to survive. At 4:30 in the afternoon, another giant ore carrier, the Arthur Anderson, 767 feet long, departs her home port under the command of Captain Bernie Cooper. Cooper has more than 30 years of experience sailing the Great Lakes. His first mate, Morgan Clark, is another Great Lakes veteran. Like Ernest McSorley, Bernie Cooper is also trying to squeeze in one last run before winter shuts down the seaway. The 2 huge freighters are heading for the Seaway locks at Sault Ste. Marie at the opposite end of Lake Superior, a 2-day sail to the east. For 300 miles, they will play follow the leader, with the heavier, slower Anderson lagging 10 to 20 miles behind. The unpredictable November weather will worsen with astonishing swiftness. By the next afternoon, Lake Superior will rise in all her fury. By the next evening, only one of the 2 giant ships will still be afloat.
The wind tattletale sound when the wave broke over the railing. Every man knew as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing.
Turn to Shipwreck, the mystery of the Edmund Fitzgerald on Discovery Sunday.